What's included with the box? Pretty straightforward. What's included with the box is what's included with the box. The condensate drain pipe is nice. It's a little piece of flexible condensate drain. Great. That's cool. A little bit of pipe insulation, installation manual. And ironically enough, in the packaging is the water heater. It's a little unusual, but it is in there. Best to pull the carton off the box. Don't try to take the unit out of the box, just take the box off. That's pretty standard stuff. Place the drain pan before you start wrestling around the water heater. Make sure that it's going to fit there. There is foam on the bottom that's protecting it in shipping, so we need to take that foam, make sure that foam stays bolted to the pallet as we pull it out. And then obviously the last step is the actual positioning or placing of the water heater. Expansion tank. Again, most codes are calling for expansion tank. It makes sense to have an expansion tank. We really want to see that. It's called for in the manual, so that is one thing that might differentiate us. If a manufacturer doesn't call for it and we do call for it, that kind of sets us aside a little bit. Sir?
Well tanks are still sufficient for that?
As long as there's no check valve in between.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
My recommendation is going to be pulling on anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
It's required in most jurisdictions.
Yeah.
Right.
Rarely enforced in a.
Rarely enforced, because rarely do water heaters actually get inspected, right? They very rarely does an inspector actually come out for a retrofit of a water heater and actually inspect that installation. So expansion, yeah, the Weltrol will act, it is an expansion vessel by default, so yeah. Yep. You know, whether an inspector is going to acknowledge that, I don't know. I don't know. Relief valve, yes, the relief valve needs to be hard piped, all that good stuff on the relief valve. There's nothing that's not standard on what's happening with the relief valve for this product. Talk about scalding, again, but why we talk about scalding with this product is because, yes, we want to drive that tank temperature as high as possible. So as we talk about scalding, the idea of putting that mixing valve on there, I would encourage every install to have a mixing valve. And I would encourage every contractor to set mixing valve at 120, tank full, you know, max out the tank. That's going to drive comfort. Doesn't really do anything to the cost of operating the unit because we're storing BTUs, it's fine. Yes, the heat loss will accelerate a little bit because the water's a little bit hotter, but not to the extent where it's going to cost the consumer excessively more to drive that much additional comfort.
Are you going to be running the electric elements more because doesn't the heat pump stop at 140?
That's what I'm saying. So yeah, set it at max, yeah.
Max 140, not max 155.
This is just a scald table. This is not set points on the water heater. This is just how can people be hurt by hot water, or what temperature water hurts people, however you want to say it. That's what that's about. Neutralizer, it specifically calls out in the manual that it does not need a neutralizer. Of course, it doesn't need a neutralizer, but inspectors are not always our friends. Inspectors are not always our friends, so it does call that out specifically in the manual. As with any tank, but we really have to reinforce it on this one because of the cost of the unit. We want to make sure that it's there. Absolutely purge the entire water tree before you energize the unit. Do not tear the unit up. Here's a little bit more on the actual wiring for the unit. Again, you get your 240 volt. It all goes in through that same cover plate where the communications is. That plate comes off. It's just 3 screws. Then you wire in behind there. A little bit more on the ducting. So there's the part number for the combined 8-inch adapter. Then we're going to reduce it down for smaller size ducting. And here's what you can get out of your run. If you can do the 8-inch ducting, you got a long run there. But the reality is, who's going to put in 8-inch ducting? That becomes a serious challenge, right? I think we all.
It's a lot. I went around my house twice with it.
No.
You can go from my house into my garage and cool the garage.
There you go.
I'm sure that fan will move enough.
It looks silly, but
Going across the yard.
Yeah.
We'll bury it.
And then there is a table for your equivalencies on all the fittings and that kind of stuff. Oh, and it's actually in, I forgot we put it in. So again, that's a cut and paste from the manual. Yes, it's colorized, but that's a cut and paste from the manual. Nobody has to memorize that. Nobody has to memorize that. That's cut and paste from the manual as well. So all of this stuff is there for the contractor. And again, it's in the installation chapter, but it's definitely a pre-installation consideration. What size ducting will he have to use? How far is he going to be able to push that ducting? That kind of stuff.
And so no have to worry about pressure zones, one wall versus the other
Nope.
wall, none of that stuff.
No, because again, the pressure zones are messing up combustion. There's no combustion. We're good on that.
So you can have an 8-inch going out, 5-inch coming in, that kind of thing. It works.
It actually doesn't discuss that at all, but I see no reason why not, just as long as the equivalency matches up, right? Because that's total. That's not one way. That's total what you're allowed. So if you use 7-inch exhaust and you put in 80 feet of that, that's half of your 5-inch, right? So because you used half of your 7-inch, you only have half of your 5-inch if you're going to go the other side.
He said the pieces come as a kit, exhaust and intake comes as one kit.
Yeah.
So if you're buying a 6-inch, it's going to be full 6.
No, there's only one kit you have to reduce. It's an 8-inch, and you're going to have to reduce.